Let me ask you something honest. Have you ever sat down, stared at the ceiling at 2 in the morning, and thought, there has to be more than this? More opportunity. More safety. More money. A better life, maybe for yourself. Maybe for your family. Maybe you just want to wake up in a country where the electricity stays on. I'm not judging. We've all been there. Well, today, you're in the right place. Because in this video, we are going to travel the entire globe together. We will count down the top 10 countries in the world for living, working, and building a real future. And I promise you this, by the time we get to number 1, you will either be booking a flight ticket, or at the very least, you will be seriously reconsidering your life choices. So grab something to drink. Get comfortable, because this is not just a list. This is a story. Your story, if you're brave enough to take the first step. Let's go. We begin our journey in a country that decided, very early in its history, that if the sea is going to try and swallow your land, you build dams and you fight back. That's the Netherlands. A country that literally engineered its own ground. In that same spirit of precision, creativity, and quiet stubbornness, it runs through every corner of Dutch life. Now, before you imagine some fairy tale village with windmills and wooden shoes, yes, those exist, and they are adorable, but the Netherlands of today is one of the most modern, progressive, and economically powerful countries in all of Europe. It's home to Shell, Philips, ASML, global giants. It is one of the most connected ports in the entire world, in Rotterdam and Amsterdam. Walked right into the global financial conversation without even knocking. Let's talk about life there. The Dutch have a concept they live by called doe maar gewoon, basically, just act normal. There is no showing off. No one is trying to impress you with their car or their watch. People there are grounded, direct, almost too direct. Ask a Dutch person what they think of your new haircut. They will tell you that, and no sugarcoating. No, oh it's interesting. They will just say, it doesn't suit you. Have you tried something shorter? And somehow, you'll thank them for it. The work culture is beautifully balanced. Working hours are among the lowest in Europe, and many people work part-time by choice, not because they can't find full-time work, but because they actually want to spend time with their families, their hobbies, their bicycles. And speaking of bicycles, this country has more bicycles than people. That's not a joke. There are roughly 23 million bicycles in a country of 17 million people. Some bikes apparently have no owner. They just exist, rolling through the streets like free spirits. The Dutch weather, though? We need to have an honest conversation here. It rains. A lot, not dramatic, stormy, cinematic rain. Just, persistent, gray, drizzly rain, the kind that doesn't soak you immediately, but slowly convinces you that the sun was a myth. Summer, however, is genuinely beautiful. Parks, canals, terraces packed with people eating stroopwafels and pretending the last 8 months never happened. Now, what about opportunities? The Dutch job market is strong, especially in information technology, engineering, logistics, renewable energy, and financial services. And here's a wonderful bonus: the Dutch speak English extraordinarily well. The Netherlands consistently ranks as one of the top non-native English-speaking countries in the world. So you won't land at Schiphol Airport and feel completely lost. The money? The average monthly income is around $4,000 USD. Cost of living outside rent is about $1,200 a month, and rent for a one-bedroom apartment? Between $1,300 and $1,700. Amsterdam is the expensive one. Classic big city tax. Cities like Utrecht or Eindhoven are far more forgiving on the wallet. The Netherlands. Number 10. Not a country that beats the sea, beats the weather, and somehow makes cycling to work in the rain look cool. Pause for effect, but if you think that's impressive, wait until we cross the Atlantic. Number 9. Canada. Canada. The country the whole world seems to have a soft spot for. You know what Canada's reputation is internationally: polite, cold, maple syrup, apologizing for things that aren't their fault. But here's what the rest of the world quietly knows: Canada is one of the greatest countries ever built for immigrants. And I don't say that lightly. Canada is the second largest country in the world by land area. Imagine that. All that space, mountains, forests, plains, tundra, coastlines, and fewer than 40 million people filling it. When Canadians say wide open spaces, they are not speaking metaphorically. The country is so committed to immigration that the government literally has structured programs designed to bring people in: the express entry system, the provincial nominee programs, Atlantic immigration. These aren't accidents. Canada actively needs people, and it shows. The society is one of the most diverse on Earth. In Toronto alone, over 200 languages are spoken. In Vancouver, you can eat your way through 3 continents without driving more than 15 minutes. Foreigners don't just arrive in Canada and fit in. They become Canada. Now about that weather, we have to address the elephant in the igloo. Yes, Canadian winters are cold. Genuinely, properly, bone-achingly cold. In places like Winnipeg, temperatures can drop to -40 degrees, -40, by the way, is the one temperature where Celsius and Fahrenheit are the same number, which means no matter what system you use, the answer is the same, too cold. But, and this is important, Canada is a big country. Vancouver on the west coast has mild, rainy winters. Not unlike the Netherlands we just left, Toronto gets cold but manageable. Calgary gets snow but also gets those warm Chinook winds that can melt everything in 24 hours. You have options. Jobs? Strong. Information technology, engineering, nursing, healthcare, construction, accounting, education. Canada's labor market is hungry, and it's particularly hungry for skilled workers from abroad. The government doesn't just tolerate this. It celebrates it. The average monthly income is around $3,000 USD. Cost of living excluding rent is about $1,000 a month. Rent for a one-bedroom ranges from $1,000 to $1,500. Toronto and Vancouver, the expensive twins, will push the upper limit, but cities like Calgary, Ottawa, or Halifax, much more reasonable. Canada. Number 9. A country so big it can afford to be generous, and somehow still manages to say sorry when you bump into it. Light tone drop. Now, we stay in the English-speaking world for just a moment longer. Actually, no. We go green. We go island. We go emerald. Number 8, Ireland. Picture this. Rolling green hills that look like they were painted by someone who'd had a little too much of the local stout. Stone walls cutting across the landscape like old scars on ancient ground. A pub on every corner, and inside every one of them, someone playing a fiddle like their life depends on it. That's Ireland, the Emerald Isle. Now, Ireland used to be known more for its mythology and its poets than its economy, but then something remarkable happened in recent decades. Ireland became the European home of choice for the biggest technology companies in the world: Google, Apple, Meta, LinkedIn, Airbnb, Twitter, Microsoft. They all have their European headquarters in Ireland. Dublin, a city of 1 million people, became one of the most important tech hubs on the planet. For a country that was once famous for exporting people, Ireland suddenly found itself importing talent. What a full circle moment. Life in Ireland has a rhythm to it that's hard to explain but very easy to feel. Work hard during the week. Then gather with people you love, or people you just met 20 minutes ago and already feel like you've known for years, and find somewhere warm to talk, laugh, and be human. The Irish have a gift for connection. They will talk to you. Genuinely. Not small talk, real talk, about life, about history, about GAA football, about things that don't translate into any other language, and they will do all of this while somehow also making you feel like you've been friends for a decade. The in-demand jobs? Information technology, programming, data analysis, nursing, healthcare, engineering, digital marketing, and finance. If you have a tech background, Dublin will welcome you like family. Now, St. Patrick's Day, you may think you know this celebration: green beer in American bars, plastic shamrocks. People in Boston claiming they're Irish, but in Ireland on that day? It is something else entirely. The whole country exhales. Music on every street. Green everywhere, genuinely green, not plastic, and a sense of pride that is quiet, deep, and absolutely real. Average monthly income, around $3,500 USD. Cost of living excluding rent, approximately $1,100 a month. Rent for a one-bedroom, $1,500 to $2,000. Yes, housing is expensive. It's the island's biggest challenge right now. But Ireland? Number 8. And here's what I want you to sit with before we move on. Every country we've visited so far is good. Very good, but we haven't even reached the top half yet. And things are about to get very, very serious. We go now to the beating industrial heart of Europe. Number 7, Germany. Germany doesn't try to be charming. Germany doesn't need to. It is the largest economy in Europe. The 4th largest in the world. A country that has been broken, rebuilt, divided, reunited, and came out the other side stronger, more organized, and somehow more efficient than before. You want to understand Germany in one sentence: everything works. The trains run on time. The rules exist for a reason. And you will follow them, not because someone forces you to, but because you will quickly understand that when everyone follows the rules, everything works. This is either deeply appealing to you, or mildly terrifying. There is no in between. Germany sits right in the heart of Europe. You can take a train from Munich to Vienna in under 2 hours, Berlin to Prague in 4. It is a country that is itself, but also a doorway to everything else. The landscape is extraordinary, not in a loud, dramatic way, but in a quietly stunning way. The Black Forest in the southwest, with its dark trees and fairy tale villages. Yes, this is the actual Black Forest that fairy tales were written about. The Rhine Valley. The Bavarian Alps. The North Sea coast. Germany contains multitudes. Now, life in Germany is disciplined. But it is not joyless. Bavarians invented Oktoberfest, a festival where the entire world shows up to drink beer from enormous mugs and wear leather shorts without any embarrassment. A country that can produce both Beethoven and Lederhosen as range. Work-life balance is taken seriously here. Annual leave is protected by law, employees have rights, and those rights are enforced. The job market is deep and demanding. Engineering, information technology, automotive, nursing, healthcare, education, scientific research. Germany's automotive industry alone, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, Porsche, Audi, is a world unto itself. If you work in engineering, Germany doesn't just want you. Germany needs you. Now, the language. You need to learn German. Not perfectly, but enough. English will get you through many urban environments and many tech companies, but if you truly want to integrate, if you want to go beyond being a well-paid visitor and actually belong, German is the key. Average monthly income, around $3,500 USD, cost of living excluding rent, approximately $1,100 a month, rent for a one-bedroom, $700 to $1,000, notably more affordable than Ireland or the Netherlands for most cities. Germany. Number 7. A country that doesn't ask you to love it. It simply performs, day after day, until love becomes the only logical conclusion. Beat. Now we move north. Far north, where the money is old, the nature is wild, and the fjords will make you question every life decision you've ever made. Number 6. Norway. You want to talk about wealth? Not the flashy kind. Not the gold chains and sports cars kind, I mean the deep, structural, we built this for generations kind of wealth. That's Norway. Norway found oil in the North Sea in the late 1960s, and unlike many countries that find that kind of resource and, shall we say, struggle to manage it responsibly, Norway did something remarkable. They put the money in a fund. A sovereign wealth fund. Today, that fund is worth over $1 trillion, for a country of 5 million people. That is roughly $200,000 per Norwegian citizen. In a fund. Set aside. For the future. This is not a country that got lucky. This is a country that got smart. And that intelligence, that long-term thinking, shapes everything about life in Norway. The social system is extraordinary. Healthcare is covered. Education is free, right through university. Parental leave is among the best in the world, for both parents, not just mothers. The safety net is so well built that poverty, as it exists in most of the world, is almost absent. Now, nature. Norway's nature is not subtle. It does not quietly impress you. It grabs you by the collar, turns your face toward the horizon, and says, look at this. The fjords, enormous, ancient, carved by glaciers over millions of years, plunge from snow-capped mountains directly into deep, still water of impossible blue-green colored. In winter, the northern lights paint the sky in ribbons of green and purple and white. In summer, the midnight sun keeps the sky bright at 11 p.m., because Norway apparently decided even time itself doesn't fully apply here. Work in Norway? Strong sectors in engineering, energy, IT, nursing, medicine, construction, and maritime industries. Salaries are among the highest in Europe, often among the highest anywhere. But here's the caveat, and I respect you too much to skip it. Norway is expensive. Very expensive. A coffee can cost you the equivalent of $6. A beer in a bar? Don't ask. Just don't. But when your salary reflects those prices, the equation balances. Average monthly income, around $4,000 USD, cost of living excluding rent, approximately $1,200 a month, rent for a one-bedroom, $1,000 to $1,500. Norway. Number 6. A country where the state actually invests in you, where nature humbles you, and where the darkness of winter is answered by the most beautiful light you have ever seen. Now, if we could take Norway's scenery, mix it with centuries of European culture, and add the best skiing in the world, where would we end up? Number 5. Austria. There is a kind of elegance to Austria that feels almost unfair. Vienna, the capital, was once the center of one of the greatest empires in human history. The Habsburg Empire at its peak stretched across half of Europe, and Vienna was its crown jewel. And even now, centuries after the empire is gone, Vienna still carries itself like royalty. The architecture, the palaces, the opera houses, the coffeehouse culture, where you can sit at a marble table, order a melange, and spend 3 hours reading a newspaper with absolutely no social judgment whatsoever. In Vienna, lingering is not laziness. It is philosophy. Austria is nestled in the heart of Europe, wrapped by the Alps. About 62% of the country's surface is covered by mountains. In winter, those mountains become world-class ski resorts, places that people fly in from Tokyo and New York just to spend a week on. In summer, they become a paradise of green valleys, wildflowers, and hiking trails that test every muscle you forgot you had. Life in Austria is organized, quiet, and high quality. People here value privacy, maybe a little too much for those of us who like making instant friends. Don't be surprised if it takes time before your Austrian neighbors invite you for dinner, but when they do, when you finally break through that composed, reserved exterior, you will find genuine warmth underneath. The job market rewards engineers, IT professionals, tourism workers, industrial professionals, and researchers. Salzburg, Mozart's birthplace, a city so beautiful it looks like a film set, drives enormous tourism revenue. Austria takes the arts and culture economy seriously. German is required here, same as in Germany. But it opens every door. Average monthly income, around $3,000 USD, cost of living excluding rent, approximately $1,200 a month, rent for a one-bedroom, $800 to $1,000. Austria. Number 5. A country that dressed its mountains in silk and built its cities like cathedrals, where work is dignified, nature is spectacular, and somehow, a 19th century cafe still feels like the best place in the world to think. Building excitement, now we leave Europe entirely. We go somewhere the world calls paradise. A country on 2 islands, at the bottom of the world, that somehow managed to be one of the happiest places on earth. Number 4. New Zealand. New Zealand is not a real place. I say this not as an insult. I say it because when you see photos of New Zealand, your brain genuinely struggles to categorize it. Fjords surrounded by mountains so steep they block the sky, beaches of black volcanic sand next to beaches of blinding white, geothermal landscapes where the ground is alive, where hot springs steam and geysers erupt and the earth reminds you it is not finished yet, rolling green hills that look like they were designed by a landscape architect who had no budget restrictions. Peter Jackson didn't choose New Zealand to film Lord of the Rings because he thought it might work. He chose it because he looked at the landscape and said, "This is already Middle-earth." And honestly, he wasn't wrong. But New Zealand is not just beauty. It is life quality. The society is open, relaxed, and genuinely welcoming of newcomers. The Maori culture, the indigenous culture of New Zealand, is not a tourist attraction. It is woven into the fabric of daily life. The language, the values, the protocols, New Zealand takes that seriously in a way that is genuinely admirable. The Kiwi approach to life, Kiwi being the affectionate term for New Zealanders, is one of work hard, but not harder than necessary, and never at the expense of living. People hike, surf, camp, cycle. Life happens outdoors. Job market? Engineering, IT, nursing, medicine, education, agriculture, construction, tourism. The agricultural sector, particularly lamb and dairy, is central to the economy, and it's an economy that is stable, transparent, and far less volatile than many. There are 2 honest challenges. Housing in cities like Auckland has become expensive, and the geography. New Zealand is beautiful, but it is far out. A flight from New Zealand to London is roughly 24 hours to Los Angeles. Still 12. You are committing to your corner of the world, but what a corner it is. Average monthly income, around $3,000 USD, cost of living excluding rent, approximately $1,000 a month, rent for a one-bedroom, $900 to $1,200. New Zealand. Number 4. The country that proves paradise is not a feeling. It is a place, and it has a passport control. We are in the final 3. If you've stayed with me this long, thank you. Hit that like button. Subscribe. Because what comes next are 3 countries that represent the absolute best the world has to offer. And we begin with money. Serious, unapologetic, generational money. Number 3, Switzerland. Let me paint you a picture. You wake up in the morning. You open your curtains, and there, directly in front of you, are the Alps, snow-capped. Perfectly still. Ancient and indifferent and absolutely magnificent. You make yourself a coffee, Swiss coffee, which is excellent, by the way, and you look at your bank statement, because you work in Zurich's financial sector, and the number on that statement is very, very comfortable. That is Switzerland in a nutshell. Switzerland is one of the wealthiest countries in the world, and it shows, but tastefully, because Swiss people don't do flashy. They do quality. There is a difference. The watches. The chocolate. The cheese. The banks. Switzerland has built entire global industries out of the philosophy that if you make something, it should be the absolute best version of that thing. The country has 4 official languages: German, French, Italian, and Romansh. So depending on which part of Switzerland you're in, you might feel like you're in Germany, France, or Italy, which is just extremely European of them. Zurich consistently ranks as one of the most livable cities in the world. Geneva houses more international organizations than almost any other city: the United Nations, the Red Cross, the World Health Organization, all call Geneva home. This is a city of diplomats and doctors and bankers and researchers, and somehow also of chocolate shops and fondue restaurants and boats on the lake. It holds all of these things simultaneously without any apparent contradiction. The job market favors banking, finance, engineering, IT, pharmaceuticals, and scientific research. Salaries here are the highest we've discussed so far. Average monthly income, around $7,000. But Switzerland's other famous quality is the cost of living. It is expensive. Very expensive. A simple lunch can cost you $25. A haircut, $60. Dinner for 2 at a mid-range restaurant? Easily $150. The cost of living excluding rent is approximately $2,000 a month. Rent for a 1-bedroom runs $1,500 to $2,000. The math still works, but you need to go in with your eyes open. This is not a place to arrive unprepared and see what happens. This is a place you arrive ready, with skills, with a plan, and ideally with a little Swiss precision in your own character. Switzerland. Number 3. Where even the mountains follow a schedule. 2 left. We go north again. Far north, and we visit a country that has quietly, year after year, topped almost every global happiness index that exists. A country where the forests outnumber the people and the silence is genuinely healing. Number 2, Finland. Finland has won the world's happiest country award multiple times. Multiple times. And the first time I read that, I thought, Finland? Finland, cold. Dark. Quiet. Reserved. Finnish people are famously introverted. There's a whole genre of jokes about it. The Finnish stereotype is someone standing 3 meters away from the nearest person at a bus stop, by choice. And yet, the happiest. How? Because happiness, it turns out, is not about noise and sunshine and constant social energy. Happiness is about trust, trusting your government. Trusting your neighbors. Trusting that the system works, not for some people, but for everyone. In Finland, the education system is one of the best in the world. And it's free, from kindergarten through university, fully funded, and not just free in the sense of available, free in the sense of genuinely excellent. Finnish schools don't crush children under homework, they teach creativity. Critical thinking. How to learn, not just what to memorize. The results speak for themselves. Finland consistently ranks at the top of global education indexes. The healthcare system, also free. Or near free. The social safety net, strong enough to actually catch you when you fall. When things go wrong in Finland, when you lose your job, when you get sick, the state is there. Not as a charity. As a contract. 75% of Finland is forest. Over 180,000 lakes. On summer evenings, Finnish families go to their lakeside cottages, practically a national institution, swim in the lake, sit in a sauna, eat grilled sausages, and watch the sun refuse to set until midnight. In winter, the darkness is real. The cold is real, but the Finns have a word, sisu, that has no direct translation in English. It means something like fierce determination, inner strength, the refusal to give up even when conditions are brutal. It is the defining quality of the Finnish soul, and it is deeply admirable. Jobs are available in IT, programming, engineering, renewable energy, education, research, healthcare, and notably, Finland is one of the global leaders in video game development. Supercell, the company behind Clash of Clans, is Finnish. Rovio, the company behind Angry Birds, is Finnish. Finland is not just a country of forests and silence. It is quietly building the digital future. Average monthly income, around $3,000 USD. Cost of living excluding rent, approximately $1,000 a month. Rent for a one-bedroom, $700 to $900, remarkably affordable for a country at this level. Finland. Number 2. Where happiness is not something you perform for others, it is something you build, carefully, collectively, and for the long term. And now. Number 1. I want you to think about something before I say the name. Think about this. Which country took all of these qualities, safety, opportunity, nature, diversity, work-life balance, quality of life, and added sunshine? Which country was recently ranked the best in the world for expats to live in by a major global report? Which country is so beautiful that its beaches are famous worldwide, its cities draw millions, and yet somehow it still manages to feel spacious, free, and alive? You know the answer. Number 1, Australia. Australia. The country at the end of the world that somehow made the whole world want to go there. Let's be honest about what Australia is for a moment, because it's easy to take it for granted. Australia is a continent and a country simultaneously. A land mass the size of the continental United States, with a population of about 26 million people. The space alone is staggering. And within that space, deserts that glow red in the sunset, rainforests so ancient that species exist there that exist nowhere else on Earth, beaches. Oh, the beaches. Sydney's Bondi Beach. The Whitsundays. The Great Ocean Road, the Great Barrier Reef, the largest coral ecosystem on the planet, visible from space. Australia is not just a place. It is a spectacle. But let's get practical, because this isn't a travel documentary, this is about life. Real life. Australia is one of the most stable economies in the world. It went through the 2008 global financial crisis, the one that brought down banks in America and across Europe, without falling into recession. Think about that. The whole world was on fire and Australia was fine. The job market is strong and diverse: technology, programming, finance, banking, mining, gas, tourism, digital services. The natural resources sector alone, iron ore, coal, gold, makes Australia a global economic player. In the society? Australians are, and I say this with complete sincerity, among the friendliest, most easygoing, most welcoming people in the world. The culture is built around the idea that life should be enjoyed, not just endured. Weekends are sacred. Barbecues are a love language, sport is a religion. AFL, cricket, rugby, and watching it together is how communities bond. The cities are world-class: Sydney, the Opera House, the Harbour Bridge, the energy of a truly global city. Melbourne, the arts, the coffee culture, the restaurants, the lanes covered in street art. Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, all beautiful, all livable, all growing. And the weather, oh, the weather, for most of the country, for most of the year, warm. Sunny. Alive. After everything we've discussed, the Dutch rain, the Finnish darkness, the Canadian cold, imagine stepping off a plane into blue skies and 25 degrees, and knowing that's just Tuesday. Now, full transparency, Australia has challenges too. The cost of living has risen significantly, especially in Sydney and Melbourne. These are among the most expensive cities in the world for housing, and geographically, Australia is far from everywhere, though once you're there, you quickly stop caring. Average monthly income, around $4,000 USD. Cost of living excluding rent, approximately $1,000 a month. Rent for a one-bedroom, $1,000 to $1,500. Australia. Number 1. A country that was ranked first in the world for quality of life for expats, and looking at everything it offers, the safety, the opportunity, the nature, the people, the sunshine, you understand why.